tuning back in with us. Jim's Speed Shop, American Garage TV. We are doing a motor buildup on this AMC. It's out of a 68 Javelin, and they're real common with, they're basically also a division of GM because they all owned everybody, just about everybody and their grandmother owned AMC. These were found in Jeeps, the CJ5s and the CJ7s, all the way up to 70-something, maybe 74. Anyways, again, this is a 68 Javelin. Customer took it and had it built a few years ago from a shop somewhere in Washington, I think, Oregon, somewhere up northwest. Anyways, it'd been sitting around generally as a shop. Since we're finishing putting it together and installing it, we're also going to be responsible for breaking it in, and we want to ensure the other person's work to which we weren't a part of. So you know how that goes. So anyways, we went ahead and oiled, because it has settled over time, a lubricant. We've got a variety of stuff over here, as you see. I like buying stuff, but we're going with this Lucas Assembly Lube. So we made sure we rotated and lubed all the way around. We checked for clearance. So these are all good. Again, this is an inline 6 232. And that is, hang on, we are popular. Hey, talk to me.
Hey, I was going to let you know it was ready to go.
All right, well, it's kind of drizzling. We're filming right now and building an engine. I'll try to get there today, okay? If not, tomorrow morning. I'll call if I have to wait. Thank you, sir.
No, you're welcome. Thank you.
Okay, that's another project of ours, our 76 Land Cruiser. The alignment is done. It's ready to pick up. Anyways, getting back to this. On the walls, we basically sprayed some WD-40. You could use a drop of Marvel Mystery Oil. We like this because we can get in there and spray the wall. So when we fire this motor up, we're not smoking and taking forever to burn this off, and then thus maybe perhaps loading up our spark plugs. So anyways, we had oiled everything, turned it over. We had sprayed the cylinder walls, and she's turning over great. The only thing I didn't like and appreciate, and you got to watch certain things, so I didn't like, because here's the thing. I know I'm throwing a lot at you. When you're touching somebody else's work, they'll find any excuse to avoid the warranty. However, the chain, that's acceptable. It had too much slop, so we changed that over. That's by Melling. You're not going to find a lot of aftermarket parts for these motors. And, there's not as abundant as, say, a small block Chev or a Ford. But anyways, we changed that. We got this a little tighter, so the cam's not slopping around. I went ahead and greased with some Engine Assembly Lube. We like and appreciate the Driven engine assembly grease. And here's the one thing I didn't like about this. Instead of the arm, which was a solid piece, it was actually layers of metal that had been drilled and riveted together, and they were uneven. So I just took a Ziz wheel, the maroon red, which is medium, and I just softened it. And make sure that you're not rounding the edge. It needs to be flush, but I wanted it smooth as it rides on the cam lobe. So we went ahead and greased that, and then we always religiously change bolts, either it be grade 8 or grade 9. Race applications, that would be grade 9 with the drill for you, so you can tie and lock those down, and that's just code. The other thing is we are just using the 12-point stainless ARP throughout the whole build, and you can always just use an AN wrench if you don't have 12-point sockets. So without further ado, we found the oil pump, so I had to do that the fuel pump, I had to do that minor modification. We put that in. We had a hard time trying to find the Melling pickup. It actually was an inch taller, deeper, and sat an inch forward. This one is the one that works with the oil pan. Again, the engine builder had to replace the original block. So that's why I mentioned the Jeep and AMC motors, which are similar, because that's probably where he pulled it from. This is a brand new milling pump. It's the M81. So we went through, and here's the thing. I like to buy new parts because labor alone just wastes the time and money when you can just buy new. This thing was so filthy and corroded, and we had to ensure we clean this out. They had debris in here. All that crap will be sucked into your motor when you start this up, and it could make the difference of a successful run-in or waste your motor and wipe out some bearings. So without further ado, we got to put on the timing cover, and we've already greased the one side. We're just using an RTV lube. Okay, you come in like so. And then I come around here. Know where your bolt holes are? I have all my bolts all mapped out right here. And then I come in, okay? And I just work that out. And just learn your control. Now here, it's a little thin, but that's okay. I'm going to do something that is referred to as masking and veneering, and I'll tell you what that is. I know this has nothing to do with veneering, but the physics of what I'm about to show you has everything to do. Okay, so we're going to get a little more on here. Okay. This is what masking means. So I've already got my gasket greased, right? So this is ready to go. All right, now come over here. This is what I mean. I'm going to take my finger, and this is all wiped, and I'm going to avoid the holes. Don't get that in there. There's something else this is reminding me about, and I want to discuss that with you. Okay, and you're just smearing. Now keep in mind, what's going to happen here is the product is going to stick to itself. That's basically what's happening here. Okay. And then sometimes I want to stand it up and I want to feel where it's wet if I'm just going to do a single overlay with the sealant. So now, come over here. Where's that cap at? Immediately cap this off. Okay. Then I'm going to take, a little goes a long way. Now stainless steel, you usually use Loctite. I mean, not Loctite, well you can. You want to have something against the stainless so it doesn't go. Not that you're going to torque these down a lot, but anyways, instead of anti-seize, we're going to use this. So we've already changed the chain. We've got this torqued. Our record showed 45 to 55 inch-pounds. And we're going to line this up and just place that against there. Make sure that you're not going to take out your holes. All right. I'm going to have to snug this up. What I should have done, now you're going to have a little movement. Just make sure this is level. I should have had another one ready to go. So let me get that. And if you've got a friend or something that can hold this and grease all these up, the more the better. Don't just take off, go to lunch, you know, have dinner, and then come back and expect this to be waiting for you. See how that's dropping? My holes lined up right there. But speaking of RTV, this is one thing I wanted to mention. When they did this, now they've got these heating identifiers right here. See these caps? It looks like the back of a shotgun shell. Now what happens is, if this gets too hot, they're going to know that you overheated your motor, because that's going to pop off. But here's the thing. If you looked, they use this blue RTV sealant. You don't use that. I appreciate the brass, and I've seen people install these with hammers. Don't do that. Just get a socket. The reason is because when you press in the center, what you're doing is you're pushing and stretching the center in and pulling the parameter your wall, your actually your sleeve, or your edge, okay, your wall, and you're pulling that in. When you do that, this doesn't fit as well. So hence they figure that this was going to work. So we can't touch that. We didn't build it. It's not our problem. But generally what we do is use a high heat green sleeve material, product, either by Permatex or Loctite. And we like and appreciate the brass. You're not always going to find brass in certain diameters. And you want to have a nice wall, not a thin wall, because you want that surface to bite. And use a socket and a hammer, not a mallet, because that way your impact is much more solid, whereas a mallet will, or a dead blow, will take in the impact. It'll absorb it. So you don't want that. And you just evenly make sure you're plumb, tap that in until you're right past the chamfer of the block, the machining on the block. See that little chamfer right there? That's called a chamfer. All right, so now let's finish installing our timing cover. Don't want to bore you with all this, but you get the point. I'm gonna get all the bolts ready. Well, now we got these all greased. We're just singeing down our bolts. This doesn't have to be torqued, and realistically, these are probably 15 to 20 foot-pounds, if that. I like to use a shorty. Basically, I'll come in, and then when I stop, I can feel it. It's almost like it's snapping on you, like when you're torquing, because you're crushing. And I actually don't know if that is because of the washer. But anyways, you can feel it. Click. Not that one, but yep, right there. I just did it. And anyways, so now I use Velcro gaskets, and you don't want to overdo it. You don't want to strip them out, and you sure as heck don't want to gull or damage the bolt and crush the gasket. Where's that blade of mine? There it is. So I'm going to take this blade. That one's not bad. Okay. This one's a little high. I'm going to come across here. Okay, and just let it glide, and as you're sliding, the blade will do the cutting. We've got a one-piece gasket for this. Now listen, those of you out there watching, professionals, homeowners, you know, garage do-it-yourself, DIYers, cleaning bolts is a pain, okay? Plain and simple. They're old, they're greasy, they're caked up, they're rusted. Sure, stainless steel will never rust. You go down to a local hardware store, you're going to pay a yin and a yang for those bolts. You go to ARP, and they mass produce these things. You're going to get some nice quality hardware, these stainless steel, 6 or 12 point, polished, for a fraction of what it would cost you to go buy all these from Ace Hardware or Maynard's or wherever you live. Because that stuff individually will add up. Plus, it's just your overall appearance. There was discussion between a father and son. The truck was a 48 Chevrolet. I think it was a 3100 series. And the father was like, you already went through the motor. And by the way, those poor boy budget builds, you get what you pay for. And I noticed he changed the crank. And he made sure he had a head that had all the, because the valves he showed me, right, they were rusted, pitted, they were, because the metal was eaten away. It's almost like a piece of wax that just melted in the sun. Right. They're all over the place. They were never going to see. But he ended up doing that anyways. So his engine not only ran smooth, it's going to run efficient and stay running without spinning and losing, rolling a bearing and stuff. So be sure you do a thorough job. But the discussion was, since we're going to leave the truck and it's all its rust and patina from over the years, why should we paint the engine? Well, look, it's up to you. But the thing is you put all that time and money and trouble, at least it's not much to paint an engine. And to add the accents, it doesn't have to look like it came right out of the factory from 1948, 58, 68 in this case. Go ahead, bring the camera on. You have to admit, I mean, look, you got quality bolts and fasteners, and it's just the detail. It's gorgeous. Now, we got a chrome oil pan coming. It should have been here, but Ed forgot to put it on our list. So we got that reordered. It's on the way. So without further ado, this is ready for the oil pan. So everything's cleaned and wiped down real good. Okay? All of this. Now we're going to do the same thing, but on this gasket, it goes dry with an exception. Okay? So here's our one-piece gasket, and I love these, man. I just love these. Okay? In these corners right here, we're going to smear some silicone, basically. Where's our RTV? Okay, so we're going to come in here. And I've seen people like cork to make it stick. They'll put a wedge here, 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 and here. Yeah, like when you're doing a manifold, yeah, those can get away from you because they're at a 45 degree. And when you're in between in the centers, yeah, you can hold it down that way because it really doesn't matter. But something right here, see what I'm doing right here? I'm working this corner. And you're going to let this set for 24 hours, okay? I'm just working the corners. And the reason why I'm doing this, because this is two separated pieces. Okay? And we're going to do the back here, the same. Now on the back, I'm going to inject it into here, because this is a little different. All right. All right. And as this smudges out, like I said, just work your control. Don't sit there wiping it down and messing with it. I mean, it's not like you're trying to have some type of visual perfect caulking like in your bathroom. Okay. There we go. All right, let me wipe my fingers. Now we're ready for the valve cover in a minute, but we're gonna, there's really not a two-piece, it's a one-piece. So this right here, I'm just gonna smudge this on the valve cover. I mean the oil pan. And I'm gonna smudge right there. That's it. All right. All right, now we're gonna get our bolts ready again. Now on this sucker, we got like 24 bolts. We've already banged this out before we painted it. We straightened it out. And just like on the small block Chevs, even some of the Fords, you've got a combination of 1/4-20 predominantly, and at each corner you've got your 5/16/18, your coarse thread. Okay, so these are for the valve cover. These are all dedicated for the pan, and this is an 400 or 430 1801. This is for a stamped pan. Okay, the 1803 are longer. I mean, you have to determine whether or not you need a little more length, which is like an 1/8 inch difference in the bolt length. We don't need it here. We're okay. Okay? So, let me get Mr. Speed Wrench here. Where did he go? There's one. You know what? Oh, look at that. That's ancient. You know what that is?
What is it?
It's a cylinder head cutter for the top. And that same guy I was mentioning about, he was cutting the top of the cylinder. This is for chamfering. But what he was using it for was to cut the lip that was created from the mileage of the rings going up and down the cylinder wall, and it opened it up.
Right.
Thus, you could take your nail and within 1/4 of an inch, 1/8 of an inch to the top, or 3/16 inch from the top of the cylinder, I mean, you can feel that lip.
Right.
That's where. It's time to go 10 over, 20 over,
Right.
and get yourself a new set of pistons. And go, and that's what they're trying to avoid, all the money that went into that that ordeal. Okay, you know what? We're going to take a little break. Why don't you pause that for them? We're going to get our speed wrench for our 3/8. It should have been in here. Okay, and I'll be right back. Well, that sucks. So yeah, we've got 3 bolt holes that don't line up. The profile, everything about this. Oh, this is so sweet here. It's not going to work. We can't stretch these. So, I've already got that greased. Okay, so basically, yeah, right here. Look at that. Look at how far off that is there. And this one, everything else lines up like a dream. What the hell? I'm going to get a snapshot of it. Now, I'm thinking as a manufacturer, this is no way in hell this is like they set up the mold and readjust it. And unlike machining and they adjusted it wrong, it just doesn't work that way. Damn. I know some of you out there are probably F it. They can deal with it. I'm not like that. So I'm going to take the moment here and clean this off. Oh, you hear that? The transport's here. Okay. Okay, so this one was one of them, and now I can see it right there. Yep, these two. Oh, we got the gasket backwards. No, we don't.
Yeah, I thought about that. Then I went and looked at the front end. I was like, yeah, it's a bigger opening.
You can't get this backwards.
Nah.
Unless you're on dope. Okay, so let's check these. God, I am regretting this. I know there's plenty of people that use stock gaskets. I'm just not one of them. So there's that right there, okay? And then this probably go. Now they got 2. You know what? Nah. There's that. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Okay. That is not friggin' lining up again. Here's another one. You mean to tell me that they made a gasket? Yeah. Son of a gun. That gasket is for another version that's got all the same profile and holes with the exception of 3 holes that are off alignment from what we need. Why in the now in that respect, I got to look and see if hang on before I touch this. I got to look and see if they've got the right one, but that's the only one that came up. Let me finish wiping down this motor. Unbelievable. And you got to think of the time, engineering and tooling and you know, designing to change 3 shitty bolt holes. What's the point? Was there some kind of bracket or whatever that they had to, I don't know. I can't tell you. It is what it is. So, just make sure all this is clean. So that's what it is apparently. There are 2 different applications for this. And that's why they gave you that additional gasket in the kit. But again, why that is. So, let's, got more cleaning to do. Hand me another paper towel there, please. Just one. Thank you. 1. What a drawback. All right. You know what? I'll tell you what we're going to do. This is Felpro, isn't it? I think they're a division of Federal Mogul. They answer the phone, unlike Holly. Let's go ahead and give them a hoot and a holler. Let's see what they say. Now, chances are, and this is, I've seen this, we can't find it online. You know, when I'm searching, we buy a lot from Summit. Our wholesale division is known as ATEC Motorsports, and you won't find it. And it has everything to do with the listing that that information alone is provided from the manufacturer unto the distributor. So if the information isn't true and correct, and you're typing in the right information on the search, you're not going to get a hit. So once you get the part number and then put it back into their search, all of a sudden, boom, whammo, there it is. So let's call Felpro and see. Contacts. Felpro. All right, well, we're calling. I'm going to let them go. They don't need to see this. Why don't you guys take a break, go grab a beer, a sandwich, and we'll see you back.